Our condolences to the family of Stan Mikita, one of the greatest Blackhawks of all time. We lost him, but let's appreciate his great memories. And later on in this program, we'll talk more about him and his achievements. We'll also talk about the Bulls' Marcus Fizer, who many thought would be an impact player. Joe Girardi, when he was a very young Cub. Wow, that's pretty old tape. And Barry Bonds when he was a Pirate this week. Check out my website, benkowski.com, for my weekly article and up-to-the-minute trivia sites. From wherever Chicago's sports teams are making news, it's the Perfect Pitch Auto Repair Sports Spotlight. Flowers for every imaginable occasion at Lansing Floral Shop. Call them at 708-474-1212. They deliver. Gil Hooley's has my trivia night at 3901 West 103rd Street on the St. Xavier campus, Friday, August 17th at 8 p.m. And if you live around St. Bede's, you should be there. St. Cajetan, St. John Fisher, all you get over there on Friday, August 17th. I will see you. You've got to get to the SOC. Live Benkowski Trivia, alternate Thursdays, 8 p.m., 93rd and Roberts Road. With a 30-year Southwest Side tradition, Huck Finn is open 24 hours to serve you with great breakfasts like the Becky Thatcher, soups, great lunches, 1/3 pound burgers, clubs, and much more. Dinners from seafood to steaks to pasta, great donuts, and ice creams. With 3 locations at Archer and Damon, 67th and Pulaski, and 105th and Cicero. Stop in today. You know Huck Finn is open. You've got to get to Dr. Sherman Clay, chiropractor. Gentle adjusting. Most insurance accepted. Massage therapy, too. Walk-ins are welcome. Call 773-324-4325. That's HEAL. Dr. Sherman Clay. You've got to get to the Wise Owl at Van Buren and Racine. Pizzas, pork sliders, Cuban sandwiches, carrot soup, elote, burgers, tacos, salads, and more. Great cocktails and great bartenders. A tremendous array at the Wise Owl, Van Buren and Racine. See you there. Lulu's has it all. Italian beef, hot dogs, burgers, chicken, gyros, fish, salads, subs, ribs at Taylor and Ogden, 2200 West. A great place. Lulu's has what you need. Stop in, check it out, eat there, take it with you. Lulu's a great, great West Side tradition. We're back in the spotlight from the Bulls locker room, and we're talking about what's happening going into the Christmas time. And just trying to get a feeling for the club. Obviously, you guys need to bust out, want to bust out. How are the coaches, approached your losing streak, and, how do they keep everybody in a good mental frame of mind when it's easy to get down at this time?
Well, they address it, with a sense of urgency. They come at us telling us what we need to do to turn it around. We understand that the things that we've been doing wrong, just pretty much been trying to get into practice and correct all the bad mistakes that has been going on for us. We hang in there and we allow teams to make big breaks, and it continue to kill us, in the long run. So we just got to continue to identify that, guard people, and limit them to one shot.
So is it safe to say that perceive most of the problems are on the defensive end?
There's no question about that. We have enough talent to score. We've proven that. I mean, we've had a couple games, where we couldn't score, but if you're not scoring, you always should be able to stop your opponents from scoring. So we've identified that. We tried, numerous of ways of matching up against our opponents, and hopefully tonight we can, put in another defensive strategy that'll change the game.
Does Cartwright talk about playing a more physical brand of basketball? I mean, I know certainly he did, and would live by that example. I don't know necessarily create intimidation, but just make people feel a little reluctant when they're going to the hole.
He tells us, don't give up any layups because we don't get layups. We have to fight and scrap for everything that we get, and we got to play the same way. You know, we got to be those nail-biting guys that's going to come out and not think about, you know, what the end is going to be like. We just got to play for the moment that's going on and let the teams know that we're there, and it's not going to be a walk in the park for them.
About the situation of when a person goes into the lineup, and let's start with yourself, about the need to be the spark, you know, to do something, you know, not necessarily go over your head to make a play, but to make an impact, you know, in the early minutes, and which often can lead to more minutes.
Right. I definitely try to come off and help the team in any way I can, defensively, offensively, whatever you know the game needs at that time, because we always need the crowd to be into it with us. We always need, you know, someone coming in and boosting the team up with that burst of energy. And if I can do that, if I can help the squad that way, then that's what I'm trying to help out as.
And looking back at the road trip, was there one game that kind of just sticks in your craw that you say, God, we had that thing won, and, you know, how the hell did we let it slip away?
Pretty much all of them. You know, we play good basketball for a couple of spells, and then we tend to relax, or we get down a lot, and before, you know, the fourth quarter ends, we're trying to make our run too late, and that hasn't worked for us yet. We're just trying to continue to play sound basketball and try to win quarter by quarter.
You know, one thing I've observed, a lot of times you're down big in the first quarter, and you guys make a series of comebacks, but, you know, we all know what NBA basketball is like, and, you know, sometimes that third or fourth run falls short in the fourth. Is there extra focus on the first quarter?
That's been extra focus here lately. We got to come on the gate faster so we can sustain, you know, a level of concentration and try to continue to play a sound basketball game. If we get down early in the first quarter, then, you know, the second and third and fourth is going to be that much harder to overcome.
How about yourself? What are you trying to get accomplished at this point in the year, and do you see the light at the end of the tunnel as far as getting decent minutes?
Well, I'm just trying to continue to get more minutes. My minutes now are down more than they've ever been since I've been here, and that's been a struggle for me. But, you know, I'm just trying to fit in whenever I can on this ball club. I mean, the whole club is struggling, and everybody is trying to fight for a win and trying to fight for something special on this team, and that's the only way I can take it as.
In your past basketball experiences, can you liken this to anything that's ever happened to you? I mean, everybody that ends up in the NBA usually was hugely successful at every other level.
No, I've never been through anything like this before in my life, you know, and I thank God for the ability to recognize it. I thank God for giving me the mindset and to come out focused no matter what and continue to fight, you know, and then just realizing, you know, that which does not kill me will only make me stronger, you know, and it has made me stronger as a player. It has made me a lot hungrier for what I have in store, you know, and I'm looking forward to it.
To help you on the court tonight, can I say something to really aggravate you and make you go out and get fired up? I mean, can I, like, you know, give you a couple of shots? What's the kind of thing that you guys do amongst each other to get each other psyched up?
Well, guys have different ways. Some guys listen to music. You know, I'm the type of guy who you know, takes my aggression and my play out on the opponent. You know, if they're doing something where, you know, they think they're doing something great or guarding me a certain way and they think they're having success, you know, then that's something that really ticks me off and gets me going. You know, or us making a big run and continue to put them down. You know, that gets me going. So. It all starts when I get out on the court. I don't take anything out onto the court with me. I don't bring anything off the court back into my, you know, home setting. That's the kind of player I've always been.
Well, we wish you the best, and look for a quick igniting the second you hit the floor.
Thanks a lot.
We'll be back. You've got to get to Lansing Floral Shop. Open at 8 a.m. daily. Besides a great array of live flowers, they have custom silks, Bridgewater candles. They want you to plan your parties early at a wide delivery area. They're located at 3420 Ridge Road in Lansing, or you can call 708-474-1212. Weddings, funerals, birthdays, anniversaries, and guys, try the No Reason flower. Believe me, it works. Lansing Floral Shop. Give them a call, 708-474-1212. Kim G. Sherman, psychotherapist, Des Plaines Wellness Center. Therapy for individuals, couples, families. Call 847-962-4849. I've known Kim for over 20 years. She is a true professional, and she will help you. Give her a call. Family Dentist, Lawrence Furland, DDS, 109th and Kedzie, crowns, veneers, cleanings, improving your smile. They do a great job. Call 773-233-7044. Excellent work, impeccable. Call the Family Dentist, 773-233-7044. They did a great job for me, and they'll do a great job for you. You've got to get to Shelton Fireworks, the world's largest warehouse, off Interstate 94, exit 22B in Porter, Indiana. Row after row of the best fireworks anywhere, from the little ones to the grand finales that'll end your show. Birthdays, anniversaries, graduations, in addition to the 4th of July. Just get over there to Shelton Fireworks now. Then you can reload by the time summer comes. Shelton Fireworks, I-94, exit 22B in Portage.
We're back on the spotlight, and Pittsburgh's Barry Bonds has had some feuds with the press, but not us, thankfully. He's been talking about all kinds of things, including the early season loss of Bobby Bonilla and some key others that made for a rough start to 1992.
I'm really impressed with the way that we've played, the way that Leland's handled this ball club, and the way that we believe in ourselves. We could have just laid down and died with those situations that occurred to us, but we didn't. We stuck together, and we've been together since '86, and we're going to live and die together.
Well, tell us about the emergence of some new young players who have impressed you and maybe surprised you.
Well, John Wayner's one of the ball players, and we had Wagner, a pitcher yesterday that pitched in Atlanta, just did an outstanding job. Jeff King has come around, and it was unfortunately that he got sent down with knowing his ability. And sometimes it get frustrating with players like myself and other guys that can see that ability in a player, and then he just doesn't do the things that you expect out of him. But that's, people's perception of other people and not giving them their just due. And we're just as in fault of that as anybody else. And he's come around for us. Orlando Merced is just going to get better and better. And I think if we can put a couple of young arms around our good veteran pitchers, I think it's going to help them, and it's going to help us in the long run.
It almost kind of forced your club into a transition maybe a year or two ahead of schedule.
It really does. It really did. We're impressed with the young guys. This is one ball club. If you're a rookie, you're treated the same as a veteran, and you have to really like that, being a rookie ball player coming to Pittsburgh Pirates, because Leland makes you feel outstandingly well and wanted on this team. Not that you were given a gift. You belong here for a reason, and he will not treat that younger ball player any different than he would treat me. And that's a good feeling, because when I came up, your destiny was to fail. Not only did you have to deal with the players and veterans around you that were telling you were nothing, you had to deal with the other teams and the fans and stuff that you haven't done anything yet. We don't make our young players feel that way.
Well, how much of an advantage was it to have a dad who played Major League Baseball to make you overcome some of those doubts that maybe you saw him overcome?
Basically, you have to block out a lot. You have to be able to separate two situations, some possibly three, fans, media, and then personal problems. You're going to have to really separate those three. If you have your own personal problems, you're going to have to leave those off the field, and that's a personal thing. You're just going to have to be able to deal with the media the best way you can and the fans the best way you can. But when you get in between those lines, you're going to have to do your job regardless, and you're going to have to be able to separate that. And some players are able to do that, and some players aren't. I've been very lucky throughout my career that I've been one of those players that have been able to block out the negative press and a lot of the speculations are things that people have ever said about me. So I've been very fortunate, and I feel blessed about that.
Speaking of speculation, he led into that real nicely, didn't he? So many people are talking about what's going to be the huge free agent bonanza, and you got to admit you're feeling pretty good about the way things are going. And you talked about Leland. Obviously you're a big fan of his. How much will that weigh into your decision whether or not you leave?
Well, right now I haven't had the opportunity to really sit down with myself and put everything in perspective. you could take a lot of things for granted. I'm still with the Pittsburgh Pirates organization, and I haven't seen that far yet. Like I always say, I'm not I Dream of Genie, and I can't predict the future. But as the days go on, I start to feel a little sadder. Sometimes I sit at home and maybe tears come out of my eyes, but nobody sees that on the field, or only my wife does. And he's been the best manager I ever had in my whole entire life. He's never forced me to do anything that I shouldn't have done, or never made me do anything I didn't want to do. He doesn't care how you dress, how you look, what you do, as long as you go on the field and give him, your 2.5 hours or 3 hours on that field. And that's a great feeling for a ball player when you're taking out all that other crud in your head and just saying, hey, as long as my manager loves me, who really cares? And that's a good feeling.
With a 30-year Southwest Side tradition, Huck Finn is open 24 hours to serve you with great breakfasts like the Becky Thatcher, soups, great lunches, 1/3 pound burgers, clubs, and much more. Dinners from seafood to steaks to pasta, great donuts, and ice creams. With 3 locations at Archer and Damon, 67th and Pulaski, and 105th and Cicero. Stop in today. Huck Finn is open. Go play at Red Shoes Billiards, 12009 South Pulaski in Alsip, featuring 16 Brunswick Gold Crown pool tables, drop fluorescent lighting fixtures, and a fabulous grade of cloth. Call 708-388-3700. And now video gaming is available at Red Shoes from open till close. And don't forget, the Illinois Lottery, too. That's Red Shoe Billiards, 12009 South Pulaski. You've got to get to the Sock Live Binkowski Trivia, alternate Thursdays at 8 p.m. 93rd and Roberts Road. Great game, great people. Check out the Sock. I think you'll be glad you did when you go to my trivia game every other Thursday. 8 p.m., 93rd and Roberts Road. Perfect Pitch Auto Repair at 108th and Kedzie does tune-ups, transmission, AC service, engine repair, tire repair, oil changes, and emission system repair. They're open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., and they've done a great job for me. Perfect Pitch Auto Repair at 108th and Kedzie. You've got to get to Papa Joe's new location, 5900 West 111th Street. Italian beef, tetrazzini, great pizza, Parmesan, ravioli, and more. All my classic choices. New location, and they can still deliver into the city. Get to Papa Joe's.
We're back on the Binkowski Sports Spotlight, and maybe it's because the weather is broken and the friendly confines are a funner place to be, especially from the fans' point of view, but the Cubs are on a resurgence of sorts, and Joe Girardi is here to tell us a little bit about it. Joe, during some of the tough times when your pitching staff was really struggling, how much of the heat as the catcher do you feel that you say you want to make the perfect call, and it seems like a lot of it's on your own shoulders?
Well, I feel some pressure. You just want to help the pitchers out as much as you can, and you feel bad for the pitchers and you feel bad for the club, so you put a little pressure on yourself to get as much as you can out of that starting pitcher on that day.
Zimmer has said on several occasions, it hasn't been to this point where you could get the pitching and hitting together. You see Andre Dawson, Ryan Sandberg, Sean Dunston amongst the league leaders in batting average and homers, and you say, geez, this club probably should have a better record. How much of it does fall upon the staff?
Well, I think all teams that win, the pitching is solid, and our pitching this year has been a little rocky, and we've had some injuries that have hurt us. So if the pitching comes along, I think we're going to have another good year. They've showed some good signs the last couple weeks, and they're coming, and I think we got a big start out of Pico and a big start out of Bosky, and that's what we need, to turn this around.
Now, it seems like there's some stabilization after you got over the injuries, and understand that Sutcliffe doesn't figure to be back for quite some time, and you know that Harkey's going to be out for a while, so you're over that hurdle. Now, I'd like to get into a little bit of the strategy of it. You got a lot of young pitchers. They look to you. They're never going to shake you off, at least probably not. So, as you control the game, what are some of the key things that you look to do, and maybe improvements you need to make in the calling of the game that's going to get these guys challenging hitters and avoiding maybe some of those 3-2 counts?
Well, I think the most important thing is we have to keep the ball down. Sometimes we get the balls up, and that's when we get hurt. In Pittsburgh, we were up a lot and we were behind a lot. And the most important thing for these young pitchers and for us is to be ahead and be down. And as long as we're down and ahead, we got a great infield, we got great speed in the outfield. thick grass at Wrigley Field is going to, it's going to eat up some of those ground balls. So if we can keep the pitchers ahead and down, it's going to be to our advantage.
Are you experiencing it more this year than any other season in your career? The ability and the knowledge that you are the field general and you're controlling what's going on out there?
Well, last year I kind of split time with Rick Rona, and then when Damon was healthy, I caught about once or twice a week. So yeah, this year I've been pressed into full duty, and I enjoy it very much. It's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be the #1 catcher at Wrigley Field. And I don't really feel more pressure this year. I think there was more pressure last year because it was in September that I was catching most of the time, and during the playoffs I feel much more relaxed, and I think we're going to turn it around. I'm very positive about our pitching staff and about this club.
I've heard some critics say that one of the problems with the Cubs has been that, and not to put it all on your shoulders, but a young catcher will tend to call the kind of game he likes to see himself pitch to. And maybe in tough situations, maybe you'll call for the fastball instead of the curveball in the dirt. What about a critique like that, and how do you respond to that?
Well, I don't think so. I don't consider myself a young catcher. I spent 3 years in the minor leagues, 4 years at college. This is only my second year in the major leagues, but I don't look as that as an excuse. I wouldn't be here if I didn't deserve to be here, so I have to do the job, and I have to call the game that I'm supposed to call. I go over the hitters with Zim and Dick Pole and the pitching staff, and we know what we want to do in certain situations is just making the pitch.
How much of the improvement in the conditions as you get into the real heat of summer, how much of that will help the Cubs?
Well, I don't think we can use the weather as an excuse because the other teams had to play with the weather too, but the pitchers are going to feel a little more comfortable out there. They're not going to get stiff in between innings, so hopefully that will help them. And as they pitch more, the younger pitchers are going to gain more confidence in themselves, and that's what's important.
I guess I was thinking more of people like yourself and some of the other hitters who, when the wind's blowing out, you can tend to get them up there in a jet stream, and Cubs win a lot of high-scoring games.
Well, I don't think I'm a home run hitter, and most of the home run hitters on this team, like Rhino and Hawk, they can cut the wind, so it doesn't really matter. I don't mind when the wind blows in because I think it helps our pitchers, and that's what I look out for first. I don't look out for my batting or the team's offense. I'm worried about the team's defense and how our pitching staff does.
What would you like to be at all-star-wise? We've heard talk of 500, but maybe a little bit above that?
Sure. You might as well shoot for the best while you're there. I think we just have to approach it one day at a time, and if we do that, I think we'll be okay.
Final question. Your overview of the race so far. It's kind of weird to a lot of people who thought it was going to be a Mets, Cardinals, Cubs kind of a race, and it's completely upside down, where the Phillies, Pirates, and Expos are the top 3 teams. Why has it turned around so much so fast?
Well, those 3 teams are playing great. That's why. Pittsburgh has good pitching, and they have a very solid lineup. The Phillies have a very solid lineup, and they've got some surprises on their pitching staff that's done very well. And Montreal's running all over the place. I think they're leading the league in stolen bases, and they're an aggressive ball club, and they got some great players. People forget about Tim Wallach and Galarraga and Raines, and they got some great players. And, the Mets, us, and the Cardinals have been struggling most of the year, and we just need to kick it in a little bit.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. So that was our interview with Joe Girardi, a fine young prospect for the Cubs, and we think he'll be catching here at the Friendly Confines for many years to come.
You've got to get to Jack's on Ridge Road in Lansing. My trivia, alternate Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Great people, great fun, and it's just an overall good time. I'll see you at Jack's. You've got to get to Oliver, 6100 West 159th Street for my live trivia, alternate Wednesdays now at 7 p.m. It's a great place with great food and drink and fun. Get to Oliver's on a Wednesday. I'll see ya. Perfect Pitch Auto Repair at 108th and Kedzie is great. Tune-ups, transmissions, AC service, engine repair, tire repair, oil changes. They're open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. They do a great job for me, and they'll do a great job for you. They're quick, and they don't charge an arm and a leg. Perfect Pitch Auto Repair, 108th and Kedzie. Trivia will be at the Sock. Alternate Thursdays at 8 p.m. 93rd and Roberts Road. Great food, great drink, great people. Everything great. Reggie's is a great place with tons of music, interesting people and staff, great food and drink at 21st and State. And amongst the cool things they have, Benkowski Trivia. All shows are now Monday at 6 p.m. Reggie's, 21st and State, a fun place. Our condolences to the Makita family, the Blackhawks, Hawk fans, for the loss of the all-time great Stan Mikita, who lived 1940 to 2018. I had the pleasure of interviewing him multiple times, and what a great man. You know, he's number one in Blackhawk history in a number of areas. 1,396 games played, more than anybody else in Blackhawk history. 926 assists, more than anybody else in Blackhawk history. And 1,467 points, more than anyone else to ever wear the Indian head. In fact, something I just learned today, he's the all-time leader in Blackhawks plus minus with an astounding plus 329 for his Blackhawk career. But wait, there's more. In Hawk history, in addition to NHL history, Stan the Man, some amazing numbers. Number 2 in all-time goals, 541 behind Bobby Hull. Number 2 with 15 career 3-goal hat tricks. And through the 60s, 4 times he led the NHL in scoring. And then there were 2 times he was the most valuable player, the Hart Trophy. And then 2 times the Lady Byng winner, which is spectacular for one interesting reason. When Stan first came into the league, he was wild with his stick, piling up penalty minutes in a huge manner. But he calmed down and became, amazingly, the Lady Byng winner for gentlemanly play, even though he is number 6 in Blackhawk history in penalty minutes with 1,264. So it's truly spectacular, all-time great, Stan Mikita, who, like I said, did numerous shows with me. I would bring him out to sports bars, and we would discuss the history of hockey, and I would talk about what I thought were interesting recent trends, and he would refute many of the things I said in a very firm and loud manner, and the crowd would laugh at the way he would correct me. But, you know, when the show was over, you know, we'd go and have a beer, and we'd laugh about it. And just a great, great gentleman who appreciated Blackhawk fans and and understood his status as a Blackhawk icon. Was particularly great with children and the handicapped, and working with them in various ways through his charitable work, and just a spectacular career off the ice as well as on the ice. A man you'd really want to know. The all-time great Stan Mikita has been lost. But instead of being sad, let's revel in all he did for the Blackhawks and hockey fans everywhere. Thank you, Stan. You've been watching the Perfect Pitch Auto Repair Sports Spotlight. Perfect Pitch located at 108th and Kedzie. Take your vehicles there for great repairs. This week's show has been brought to you by the Lansing Floral Shop. Call for your flowers at 708-474-1212. Huck Finn, a great wide-ranging menu, along with donuts and ice cream. Open 24 hours at Archer and Damon, 67th and Pulaski, and 105th and Cicero. Imprint Graphics, leaders in booklet, perfect bound saddle stitch. Very competitive pricing, 708-396-1010.